Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. Today, the shop is getting an upgrade in the form of a new 4-post lift. If you haven't seen any of the older videos that I shot on building this shop, I've got a link to the playlist down in the description box below. A lot has changed in the last several years since I have filmed a shop video, and I do plan on filming a final shop tour video. I wish I would have done it already, but again, so much has changed, things have evolved, and now you guys can actually see everything in a more finished state. But there's still some things that I want to do to get more efficient and get better utilization of my space. So the second step is this video. The first step was the new office building that I had ordered. I've already uploaded the video on taking delivery of that. I still have to finish outfitting that. So I'm going to be relocating my office from this shop to that shop to make room for this 4-post lift, which, as you can see, is already installed. The lift that's being installed in this video is a JackPak Grand Prix GP9 XLT. For comparison's sake, the one behind me is a JackPak HD 9XL. And while they're both 4-post lifts, they're very different from one another in how they're designed. So, of course, I'll be talking about all of that later in the video when I give you guys the final tour of the new lift. But in short, the Grand Prix series offers good bang for your buck. They typically have a smaller footprint than JackPak's traditional lifts, so if you're not working with a whole lot of space to begin with, you might want to check out a Grand Prix. I actually have a Grand Prix 2-post in the old shop. I've had it for years now, and it's been a great lift. It's especially nice for garages and DIYers and stuff like that. And of course, again, we'll talk about all this stuff later in the video. But first off, I'm going to show you guys the installation process. The folks that installed this lift, Automotive Equipment Installation, they're a local company. They installed all my other lifts, and they've just been phenomenal to work with. I've got their contact info down in the description box below if you guys want to check them out. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started.
Sign on the way up 77.
a long connector. So, yeah, that's it right there. Yeah, I like it. This table breaks. That's the sixth. I got these red casters on a lot of stuff that I own.
At this point, the lift is fully installed and wired up. Let me give you guys a tour. Compared to the standard Grand Prix 4-post lift, this XLT model has 24-inch longer runways and rises up 12 inches higher. So if you have the space for it, this is the one that I would absolutely recommend just because it's a lot more flexible of a setup. Not only are you going to be a lot more comfortable working underneath when something's raised up in the air, but you also can work with longer vehicles and taller vehicles and not worry about clearance issues quite so much. My HD9XL is a really good example of, if you have the space, just get a lift that raises a little higher if you have the option. While this 56 Thunderbird fits really nice underneath this lift, and let's be honest, most cars fit just fine, when it comes to trucks, smaller SUVs, my 48 Ford Super Deluxe even, like, they're just too tall to fit underneath here, and this lift is raised in its highest position. So again, while it is just fine for most things, and I have plenty of stand-up clearance underneath there to work on stuff, I wish I was able to go just a little bit higher, and I had the room. I just thought the standard height would be just fine. So, you know, it is what it is. It's still been a great lift, but if you have the option and you have the space, get something that raises just a little bit higher. A really nice feature of this lift that's shared with my HD9XL is the lifting capacity, upwards of 9,000 pounds, which is awesome and more than I'll probably ever need. I don't think anything I have or ever will have will be close to 9,000 pounds going on this lift, but still pretty cool nonetheless. The other really nice thing about the Grand Prix lifts is that they come packaged with a bunch of extra accessories. So you have two sets of ramps first off. These are like, you know, typical standard type ramps. They're powder coated and have a anti-slip coating applied to them. But what I really like are these polished diamond plated running boards, which were optional on my HD9XL. Again, they're standard on the Grand Prix. They not only look nice, but they stick out a little bit further and help with lowered vehicles. So while these are a little tall, those are a lot lower in profile and makes it much easier driving up onto the lift. You've got these tire chocks right here, so you can pull the ramps off when you lay it up or raise it up, and then you can stick those in the slots so you have tire chocks up at the front. You also have tire chocks at the back, so front and rear protection. But this stuff in the middle right here is something that I think is really cool, especially for the older vehicles. You have two removable and slidable drip trays, And these things are massive. As you can see, they basically take up half of the runway when they're, butted up side by side. So this is going to be especially nice for stowing older vehicles that tend to drip some fluids, keep things clean underneath. This is also pretty cool. So this can function as a tool tray. It just slides back and forth, but you can also put bottle jacks in it if you needed to jack up like little portions of the vehicle or whatever. Very, very heavily reinforced steel, very sturdy piece of equipment. So really like that. The power unit just mounts to this post, as you can see here. It's a 220 volt motor, and right beneath that is the reservoir for the hydraulic fluid. You have return and pressure lines. There's your return line. This is the lever to lower the lift, and you have your pressure line right here. Those two lines run through that plastic corrugated sheathing to this ramp. You've got the big hydraulic ram underneath this side. This lift does not require an air supply because the locks are mechanically operated. So if you don't have an air supply or don't want to run one, this will work out just fine. And it's very, very simple. You've got this lever down here. Just grab, push it down. Practically effortless. So unlock, lock. And this controls all 4 locks around the lift. One thing you've probably already noticed, this lift is not bolted down. That's because it is designed to be freestanding if you want. Very similar to my HD. Now, depending on how the lift is used and who else is using it, if this lift is in a shop, it really just depends on the situation on whether you feel more comfortable bolting it down or not. I'm gonna leave this freestanding because I like the fact that it is very mobile if I need to. Most likely this lift will be staying here just because it's mainly going to be used for storage. But one of the really cool accessories that I forgot to mention earlier is the caster kit. So you saw this a little bit in some of the assembly clips, but you raise the lift up a bit, you bolt this into the bottom of the legs, and then you lower the lift down. When this big bar right here lowers onto this, it will pivot up. It'll basically lift the legs off the ground, and then you can push the lift around and relocate it wherever in the shop that you see fit. And they're really nice, like heavy duty casters and stuff, so they won't like mess up a painted floor or anything like that. It's like some kind of rubber or polyurethane material, just very durable feeling, but it's just a really neat lift. I wanted to show you one more big design difference between the HD and the Grand Prix before I show you on the Grand Prix. So most of the stuff on this lift is internalized. You've got that airline right there. Obviously the cables were running underneath that ramp over there. And then you've got those airlocks in the middle of that channel. But you've also got the internalized locking structure that's also adjustable. There's actually a little set screw right there. The Grand Prix is a good bit different. A lot of the mechanicals of this lift are exposed, so if you're one who likes to keep an eye on that kind of stuff, then this will be right up your alley. As you can see, the cables stretch from the runways up to the tops of the legs. They're what provides your lifting. You've got these built-in covers to, hide those mechanisms and pinch points, like the pulleys and whatnot. The cables are also what you would use to level the lift. So there are no adjustments in the legs. The lock holes are just as they are. They're just holes drilled into that solid boxed steel structure. So your adjustments are in the cables. Once you get everything set, put a level on the runways, tighten the nuts on top until you get everything nice and level. I think this design is pretty cool here. So this big crossbar is linked with this boxed structure. So as you guys saw in the beginning of the assembly, they had to slide this on, release the locks, and move it up and down. So this piece right here completely encircles the legs, and you've got these very hard wearing, like some kind of composite material like sleeves that kind of ride up and down and provide like the smoothness and prevent any kind of metal on metal contact. It's a two-piece design that also wraps around different areas and stuff. Just pretty cool if you ask me. Well, those are the basics of the lift. If you'd like to learn any more specific stuff, I've got a link to this lift from JackPak's website down in the description box below, so check it out. I've also got some pretty cool shop equipment that I want to show you guys that I'm really excited to try out. And of course, I can't end this video without putting the lift to the test, so let's go ahead and get a car in here. Now this is pretty awesome. I've got the lift in its highest position at the moment, so you guys can kind of get an idea of how much space you have underneath here. I was actually reaching my hand up a second ago and I can just barely touch that exhaust bolt, and I'm 5'10". So obviously it would have to be lowered a little bit for me to be able to comfortably work on it, but this is just an amazing amount of space. Especially nice because you could park a taller vehicle underneath here. So like I mentioned earlier, to lower everything down, you raise it up just a little bit to take the pressure off the lock. Then just pull this down all the way. Push that little plunger. So the first piece of shop equipment I want to show you guys is my JackPak Ergo Chair RS. This thing is really cool because it doubles as a adjustable chair and creeper. So in its laid out state, as you can see, it's just your standard creeper. Moves around nice and smooth. It's got these really nice rubber casters on it, so that it just glides over the floor. And it has these built-in guards around the wheels to try to prevent stuff from interfering with the wheels. But obviously the coolest part about this is in the name, chair. You just raise the back of it up like this. That's its lowest chair position. So depending on how you're working on a car, whether you're just messing with a wheel or underneath, let's say you have one of the lower clearance JackPak Grand Prix lifts, you can still get underneath and be comfortable working on something. It is the coolest thing. And then you can go up more, up to the highest position, and it's like a regular chair. So it's awesome. These right here are attachments for the seat. So there's a little tray. So pull out this bar, you can set that right there. The bigger tray goes on this side, and then you have brake cleaner or drink holder go on this side. Back here is a magnetic tool tray, which is pretty cool. So obviously you can just stick this wherever you need to. And there's a little slot right there. When you're not using it, just keep it out of the way. And then when you're ready to recline it some more or lay it back flat, you just grab the bottom cushions, lift it up, that releases the lock, and then you just lower it down. That's so cool. Here's some of the other stuff that I wanted to show you guys. On the left, we've got these truck and SUV adapters for my big 2-post lift in this shop. They sell risers in different heights. I've already got some shorter ones, but again, depending on the height of the frame, how the frame is shaped, just variables like that, it definitely comes in handy to have a larger set of risers to make picking things up easier and of course safer. Behind those, replacement rubber pads for my Grand Prix 2-post lift in the other shop. The original ones were getting a little bit tired, so swap those out, it'll be like brand new. This is particularly cool as well. This is called the JackPak. Specifically, this is the Ultra 2500A. It's a 4-in-1 jump starter, LED flashlight, device charger, and air compressor. This is just really nice to have for emergency situations because it's compact, it fits almost anywhere, and it's also nice if you're out and about working with older vehicles like I do sometimes, and you never know when you might need to pump up a tire or jump something off, so this is really versatile. And again, it doesn't take up much space and it's extremely lightweight. So you plug the jumper cables in here. This is for your USB charging for your smartphone, and then the air connection is over here for the air compressor, but very simple to use. Little power button there. This button's for your LED flashlight. You can set the pressure that you want to pump up to, for typical tire or whatever, and then you just hit that pump button. Super simple to use. And this one came with, we gotta hold that. There we go. This one also came with a little GPS tracker thing, which is pretty cool. So I guess you can use that for like a little smartphone or something like that. Make sure you don't lose your stuff, but yeah, it's always fun getting some new shop equipment. Well, everyone, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please don't forget to leave a like down below because it really helps the videos a lot. And if you haven't subscribed already, consider doing that too, and make sure you turn those notifications on. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.